talking to you, but welcome to Northwestern College, where we're here at Reynolds Field for a beautiful day against the Eagles, against the University of Minnesota Morris. Pete, what do we got going on for us today?
Today in the offense for the Eagles is Kelly Johnson starting at running back. He had 16 carries for 129 yards last week and led the team. Bobby Miller is the starting quarterback, but he has a knee injury that has been bugging him lately, but he should be ready to go. Paul Gibbs should be back in the lineup today for minimal carries, along with all the other running backs who are injured. We have a couple offensive tackles that are hurt, but we should still be able to get through it. One thing the Eagles must do today is we can't turn the ball over at all. We've gotten five turnovers in the last couple games, and we just can't do that.
Another key thing about today's game is going to be Gibbs kind of coming back to the lineup today. Friedman was injured 2 games ago. He's a little hurt, but right now we're going into the national anthem. And that will kick us off for Northwestern against University of Morris. Pete, what do we got for our offense today?
Today's offense today has Kelly Johnson starting at running back. He had 16 carries for 129 yards for an 8.1 yards per carry average. Today we also have Bobby Miller from Washington. He's a senior, and he has a knee injury that has been bothering him. But one thing that he can't do today is turn the ball over like he has so many times this year. Paul Gibbs should be back in the lineup for a few carries today, and that should help the offense start to get rolling. One thing we also have to do is just wear down their defense with our offense and just hopefully run the ball right through them. Another thing we can't do is just got to hang on to that ball. We have one of the highest turnover ratios in the league, and that's bad.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with you. Definitely, what we're gonna be relying on today is really our total offense right now, because our defense, we have the #1 defense scoring in the division. right now what we're really concentrating on is our offense. Miller, he really needs to start delivering right today. Today is his day. Kelly Johnson, since he'll be starting without Friedman, well, you know, Miller really needs to start taking the pressure off the running game.
I absolutely agree with you. And one thing we don't have this year for our offense is Troy Nocky, and that, I mean, we just have to keep running the ball, and we have no aerial attack this year, so that's just a big problem for us.
Cougars lining up for the opening kick. Marvis Povers is ready to kick it off, but it's like the gusty winds are gonna set us back a little while. It is really, really gusty out there today with a temperature of about 43 out there.
It's a bit chilly, Nathan.
All right. Cougars again, almost ready to kick it off, but those winds.
Should call a delay a game on them, crying out loud.
Oh, gee. One of these days we'll get the ball off. Pavars ready for a third time. Hopefully the wind will. Oh, now we can't even hold it up.
Third time's a charm.
And the kick is off. This one being returned by Josh Peterson. Excuse me, that was Davey Nitch. And he gets to about the 36-yard line. I think really one of the key components to this game is Eagles really have to start it off strong. You know, our last couple games, we've developed slowly at first, and then we kind of come back during the second half. Today, Miller needs to take charge and really start us off right now. Miller lines up. And he snaps back, and this one was handed off to Johnson for a really short game, 1, maybe 2 yards.
The Eagles all-time are 0-1 versus Minnesota Morris, losing 28-21 last year on the 25th of October.
Johnson, a freshman running back this year. Really today we're going to be looking at several running backs as we switch out. Friedman slightly injured and Gibbs as well, but Miller throws this time to Josh London for a quick gain of about 6 or 7 yards. Is that a first down? Maybe.
That's what they've got to do all day. They just got to keep throwing and just keep the defense of Morris on their toes.
I was going to probably go live in a second.
That's the thing. I think in the past, Miller's really been he's throwing it out there, laying it up there. I really think the Eagles just really need to concentrate on those short, quick drives. Miller has a really strong arm. This time he sneaks it, which looks past the first down. Eagles gain a steady 10 yards, I believe. And that is a Northwestern first down.
You want to tell Wallen?
One other thing we got to do today is Bobby Miller just has to stay patient in the pocket. And one thing he's been doing all year is just trying to carry and just make something out of nothing, but he's not passing it, he's just running it.
Absolutely.
No, I only got one announcement.
That is an aspect of Miller. He's really a Vic/McNabb player. He doesn't really sit back. He always is scrambling, and he just needs to keep his cool and just concentrate on throwing the ball. This time, handed off. This time to Paul Gibbs, who's new to the action this year.
Welcome back, Mr. Gibbs. We've missed you.
It's about a 5 to 6 yard carry. We're looking at 2nd down and maybe 5 after that Gibbs run. Gibbs suffering from a hamstring injury. He'll get minimal carries today, but only time will tell. Cougars showing blitz. Miller scrambles, a quick toss, this time to Ben Unen for a quick 10 to 15 yards for a quick Eagles first down. Eagles are now at the 32-yard line.
Watch your cable. I'll help you out for the most part.
Miller so far looking rather consistent. He's doing those quick, short snaps, and that's really what really is Miller's strong point.
Just keep guessing.
Miller lines up. Takes the snap. Hands this one off to Gibbs again for a short gain. Excuse me, that was Stephen Bogus.
A freshman who's listed as a linebacker. Wow, that's a bold move from Rick Talley.
You gotta throw in a surprise here and there. And right now we're looking at 2nd and 12. That was a loss for the lineman. Miller lines up for the snap. Drops back and throws, this time to Josh Lundeen. Fumble, and looks like Morris recovers.
Well, that's one thing they can't do. If it happens all day, it's going to be a long day for the Northwestern Eagles.
You know, we've seen this in past games. It's just they're starting to make that slow progress, and then you just make mistakes like that, that all it's really going to do is just cause extra time in the film room this week.
But you know, an aspect or cause of that might be just the frigid cold weather out there.
True.
It might be hurting receivers on both sides of the field today.
Very true. But you know, it looked like he obviously had control. So I think once you have control, you really have to commit yourself to holding onto that ball, because that's really your only job. Cougars with a quick rush. The starting running back for the Cougars today is Donnie Green, a really breakout running back for the Cougars. We have a replay of that fumble we had. He had control, but he just could not hold on to it right there. You really have to commit yourself to holding that ball. It looked like he had it tucked under his right arm, but you really got to get both hands on it. Quick throw to Patrick Mahoney for a quick 8-yard. No good. Looks like he dropped that. And again, I think that goes back to the cold weather. I think when that ball hits your hands, I really think you're going to get a sting today. Morris lines up again. Tony Ekron is their quarterback today. Sends John Scola in motion. Ekron drops back. A nice quick throw to John Scola, but again, drop. I really think that cold weather is really playing a factor. What do you think, Pete?
Well, I mean, when you're a wide receiver, catching the ball is your only job, and if you can't do that, it's going to be a long day. And cold weather living in Minnesota here is just going to, you'd think you'd get used to it, but you just can't.
Not all these boys are from Minnesota. You never know. I do think we have some Florida boys on the Eagles. Ekron lines back, and we kick it away. Stephen Bogus called for the fair catch at the 21-yard line. Both teams showing mediocre at best offense. Morris boasting the #1 offense in the division. But also, you have to remember, Eagles have the strongest scoring defense in the division. It's really a balance between the offense and defense. That's really what's going to make or break this game today, is which one of the two can break through the others, really the strength of their team. Miller lines up for the snap. And he takes the snap. Handoff for a really short gain. That one was Kelly Johnson, the freshman running back for the Eagles. Again, we're looking at about equal carries between Johnson and Gibbs.
Yeah, it looks like if you're listed as a running back, you're just going to play about 12 plays on average today.
True.
Equal opportunity team, I suppose.
Well, you know, Gibbs was their full-timer for about 2 years, but, you know, after being injured for so long, you can't just push him in. What they're trying to do, they're trying to slowly develop him back into the game. Miller drops back, quick screen to Davey Nitch for a quick 2 to 3 yards. And that should bring up 3rd down and maybe 8. 3rd and 9, excuse me.
Rather sparse crowd here at Reynolds Field. Seems to be like a lot of kids who went home for break, and
not too many students want to get too cold today. Rather stay in their dorms and watch. 3rd and 9 at the Eagles 23. Miller hopefully making a great 3rd down conversion today. Takes a snap. Quick snap to Stefan Redlin, the tight end. Pushes his way for the yards, and that's a 1st down for the Eagles, up to the 39-yard line.
As Stefan has just come back from an injury that has hindered him for the last couple of games. I was talking to the defensive coordinator earlier before the game, and he said he's one of the newcomers, I guess.
He's a big boy. He's 6'4" and 230 pounds, and you saw all of that right there, pushing through for the 1st down. Eagles are now at their own 34, 35-yard line. Miller lines up and takes the snap. Another handoff to Johnson for a short 2-yard gain. You know, the last couple games we've watched, normally it's really their running game that perseveres throughout the game, but right now we're looking at Miller's actually carrying the team today.
Yeah, who knew? I mean, Bobby Miller, it's a pleasant surprise to see him just throwing rockets in there, and it's nice to see that the wide receivers are handling this cold weather with their hands.
That is a must for today's game. Miller lines up at about the 36, 2nd and 9. Play action, scrambling, and Miller's gonna run this one. Definitely gets the 1st down. He's at the 40, and he goes out of bounds at the Cougars' 37-yard line. That's really going to help the Eagles today. Now, the problem for the Cougars today with with Miller is not just a passing guy. He is huge on the running game. Let's take another look at Miller's run there. Miller scrambles, and Miller, he's a big guy. He can definitely get out there and he can run the ball, and definitely produces for the Eagles.
He's a speedy guy. He's like Antoine Randall from Indiana a couple years ago. He could probably almost play receiver.
And that's really going to keep the Cougars defense on their toes. Another handoff to Gibbs for a quick 7 yards. Gibbs again seeing only a couple carries today. But Gibbs is he's the one that's really making their rushing game work. Johnson's not really competing with his running game today.
It's also going to help with the rotation of the running backs, just to keep those legs nice and fresh, to keep them just going on all cylinders.
Now we have to keep in mind, Friedman is not completely out of this game. He will be returning punts, but right now he's really trying to nurse that injury. This one carried a couple yards. Again by Johnson. Gets a 4-yard gain for a quick Eagles 1st down at the Cougars' 28-yard line. Excuse me, 25-yard line. You know, sometimes it's not just the running game. The running game doesn't always need to be those breakout 10, 20-yard gains. Sometimes all you need the running game to do is just kind of break through for those 4 to 5 quick gains, and then that really will open up the passing game for Miller. Miller quick drops back and a quick throw to what looked like Kelly Johnson. Gains a couple 4 to 5 yards. Again, Miller starting to really look comfortable out there, even in this cold weather. And our sideline reporter, Tony's coming up to join us. Tony, what are we looking like out there?
We're actually looking at a couple different situations here. First of all, we've been talking about how Ben Friedman is, we actually see Bobby Miller here roll out. taking a nice slide there. Ben Friedman's left ankle is still bruised up, so he's going to get minimal work, mainly doing punt returns, kick-offs, pretty much special team work. Beyond that, a few other side things is the players are complaining about the cold, not only like physical draining of the muscles, but it's a lot harder to breathe down on the sideline, which,
absolutely.
I mean, you're seeing a lot more players come in and out. Kelly Johnson's right now starting and running really, really well. Beyond that, here's the big thing that we're seeing on the sidelines. The wind up on the booth here is about 10, 15 miles an hour gust. Down on the field, as we saw in the kickoff, as we see Stephen Redland take one pass over the right-hand side. The kickoff, you saw 2 of the balls fall. It's extremely windy on the field. We're getting gusts up to about 45 miles an hour down on the sideline. The ball is very tough to throw right now because when the ball's warm, it's real nice and light, but when it's cold, it's more like ice. And now that's the problem we're facing on the sidelines. All the balls are extremely cold. We don't have any heaters here at Reynolds Field, and we have a ton of wind gusts going on right now. So
I think Miller's really coping well with the temperature, though, temperature and the winds, because Miller's not really laying him up there. He's throwing those quick, short, close to the ground throws, and he's really doing a good job out there today.
Absolutely, and that's been one of Bobby's strong ports of his career.
This
so
one
far.
Run by Gibbs for a quick Eagles touchdown.
And we do see we've got a flag down in the middle. Probably is going to be holding or clipping, one of the two. It's in the range of the offensive line, so we're going to see that. Here's one thing about Bobby Miller's career. Always been a real nice, strong arm to the short patterns. It's when he tries to go deep that every once in a while his balls hang up there. This is a game where Miller really could step up. I mean, he's got great legs. I mean, really moves fast. And then beyond that, I mean, his arm is strong right now and is, really keeping that ball nice and crisp. I talked to him on the sidelines just a second before this drive happened. He said, we're going to keep it short. We're going to run hard. We're just going to pound it in old-fashioned style. So I'm going to go back down on the frozen field of Reynolds here and hand it back to you guys.
Tony, good luck.
Have a good day.
Miller actually doing a superb job today, and he's doing exactly what he's been saying he's doing. He's just getting those quick, short drives. And as long as the Eagles don't make mistakes like fumbles, like we just saw the last drive, I think this could be a really good start for the Eagles.
That's also going to take the safeties out of the game because if they're just, then they can't.
Miller again with a quick, short run to maybe the 9-yard line.
Take what they give you. Good job. Hey, someone save this. This is awesome. Save that.
And that will bring it to 2nd and 10 after that penalty brought him back.
What's that? What did he do?
Penalties haven't been a big problem for the Eagles this year. It's just
Not really, but when they do happen, they are big, like that one. And when we played Crown, we also had that fumbled snap that ended up being a touchdown, but again, they had to bring it back because of another penalty. Miller drops back, and another quick throw to this time to Jeremy Daggett for a quick Eagles touchdown. Miller is just really, he's looking comfortable out there. He's really developing his game, and another quick short screen to Daggett. That's really what's going to help the Eagles today.
he just looks calm and he's just floating them in there, and they're just getting in the right places.
I'm seeing a lot less scrambling from Miller today. And the extra point is up, and this one is good. I'm sorry, but every extra point I watch at Eagles games now, you watch in agony because you remember that Crown game. We had, what was it, 3 or 4 botched extra points. Especially
coming to watch some of the soccer games, it's like all the errant shots from the soccer players go right through the uprights, and you just gotta wonder, why don't you guys play football? You could probably just walk on and just start.
True. And it really makes you wonder, because kickers, that's really all they got to develop is their leg and their kicking motion. And when you botch extra points, it shows you got to start working harder, because that's all you're out there for. Those short, quick extra points. 4:52 left in the first quarter with the Eagles 7-0. Cougars really need to start pushing the ball downfield today. A low, not too long kick. This one's going to be returned by Adam Turgeon. And he gets to about the 38-yard line, giving the Cougars some much-needed field position. Pete, what do you think the Cougars have to do today to really start working their offense?
Well, I've been seeing earlier on like their first drive, the Eagles defense has not been playing very tight corners. They look like to be playing more of a zone defense, and I just think they should be doing what the Northwestern team has been doing, just short passes right out to the outside, and they should be able to just average about 5 yards a gain.
Absolutely.
First and 10, the Cougars from their own 39.
Ekron drops back and hands the ball off to Donnie Green. Green, a really powerful running back from Chicago. 5'10", 180 yards. And we have a penalty holding against the offense. A fair amount of penalties to start the game off.
The Eagles can average a pretty decent offensive game and just take a couple penalties from the Morris team, which would be a pretty easy day for Northwestern.
And we're now looking at 1st and 20 from the Eagles' 29-yard line. Excuse me, Cougars' 29-yard line. Ekron drops back. A fake handoff to Green, but this time Bohannon was just stuffed, trying to get the reverse going on there. Eagles defense just looking absolutely stellar today.
Yeah.
They've looked fairly stellar all year, except for the first couple of games when they played St. John's, and who else was it?
Second and 28 from the Cougars' 21. Ekron really needs to start developing his game right here. Lays one up there, successful this time to John Scola, a senior, for a really quick, looks like a 30-yard pass for a quick Cougars first down.
Your butt on the other side of the team.
Started to scramble, but he kept calm and he just threw it, and that was a perfect pass to Scola.
Looked like it caught the Eagles defense off guard a little bit. They didn't expect for the long bomb. Kind of looked like they expected them just to lay over and die and just wait to punt it.
That's going to be the Cougars' main strength today, is the balance between their passing game and their running game. Both Ekron and Green really developed players. This time handed off to Green and just pushing his way for a quick 8 yards. Green, a strong guy from Illinois.
Here we go, Buffalo!
The Cougars have been coming out with 4 wide on most of these with a single back, and it looks to be taking the Eagles defense for kind of a ride because they're expecting for the long pass, but
that's the thing.
With a run.
Eagles defense really has to stay balanced today because Ekron just showed just a few plays ago that he can definitely get it done with that quick 30-yard pass, and Green, another huge threat. Ekron scrambles, this time a quick throw to Patrick Mahaney for a quick Cougar first down. Cougars are now at the 32-yard line, Eagles 32.
Let's go, D, let's go!
Let's take another look at that quick pass.
Hey, get line!
Ekron shows a quick fake handoff, and then Mahaney, perfect, right where Mahaney wants it. We're taken out of bounds at the 33. Ekron just really on fire today. I think all they really needed to do was get that first drive out of their system. Now they're starting to look more developed. Better, the Eagles are just freezing out there. Ekron drops back. Hand off to Green, but Green is absolutely stuffed. Green was dropped down by Aaron Peddington, a freshman here.
You also got to wonder, with the temperatures getting so cold last night, the amount of frost that's still on the field making it a little more slippery for the players. They'll more than likely favor the running back and just keep powering through, but their defense can't tackle because they can't find a good hole.
And again, I think that's a downfall for the Eagles because Miller, a really scrambling quarterback, he runs a lot too. Ekron, a quick pass to Garrett Bohannon for a quick 6 or 7 yards. Ekron just really pressing on there today. And you see both quarterbacks, they're keeping the ball close to the ground today. That's really going to help avoid any sort of wind interference for the quarterback.
And man, it is really windy out there.
All Eagles fans absolutely bundled. We're looking at 4 to 5 layers today. Man in motion for the Cougars. Ekron drops back. Another handoff to Green, and Green is getting the job just absolutely done. Brings it to the Eagles, looks like 16-yard line. Like I've been saying, the Eagles are just, Cougars are really keeping the Eagles on their toes today, and Eagles aren't looking like they're able to stop either the running or the passing game today.
You gotta wonder if they need to bring a couple more blitzes in there just to keep, so they don't get into a rhythm, Cougars that is.
Ekron drops back. Another quick pass to Garrett Bohannon. Bohannon fighting his way to what looks like the 2-yard line.
A lot of these quarterbacks are using what looks to be like a post route out, whether it be outside or in, and they're just keeping them short, but when they catch it, they're making impressive gains after the catch.
Morris with already a quick 58 passing yards. Now after those quick passes, this is really where Green's going to start to develop. Quick handoff to Green, and does he fight his way through? And it looks like referee have signaled a touchdown for the Cougars, making it 7-6. Ekron really opening up the rushing game for Green today. Let's take a quick look at that rushing play.
Morris looking to be coming out in a jumbo set just to power it in there.
Green just absolutely pushing his way through. Green not all that big of a guy, 5'10", 180. I mean, it's decent size for running back, but really all that 180's got to be muscle because he's pushing his way through. Brings it to 7-7 with a little under a second in the first quarter.
That goes up and over, coming in.
With long drives like that for the Cougars, they're just going to wear down the Eagles defense because it's so cold out here, and you're just playing and playing and playing. It's just going to tire them out, and that can go both ways too with the Eagles if they get the running game established.
Well, they're kicking off in.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with you. Miller doing a good job of establishing the both passing and rushing game, but really what we're looking at is the switch between the running backs. They really need to start developing. Johnson starting to get the job done. Gibbs doing a fairly decent job as well, but it really needs to start being consistent right now. And Pavar's ready to kick it off. Fairly decent kick to about the Eagles' 10-yard line. This one returned by Mark Patnode. Brought to the Eagles' 25-yard line.
The team's going to come this way. Come back this way. Come back this way.
I'm starting to see some slowing down by both teams. I think this cold's really starting to get to them.
Quarter, so now we're going to flip.
Both teams, as you can see, if you look at the sidelines, they're both starting to shift around, trying to keep that blood flowing, but it's really starting to get hard to stay warm out there today.
And with the lack of heaters like you see in NCAA games or NFL games, it's just gonna hurt both teams even more. Not to be able to have those hands getting warm.
Absolutely.
Northwestern College would like to thank the following companies and businesses for supporting.
And this will bring up
Thank you for supporting.
and we're looking at the start of the second quarter. what's up with our audio. Eagles hopefully starting off.
Ask Wallen if he wants to do an audio check.
Miller takes the snap. A quick handoff to Gibbs for a gain of a couple yards.
Check.
And again, with rushing, that's all you really need. Is just a couple yards here, a couple yards there, and it's really going to start opening up the passing game for Miller.
And if they start getting like 8-yard runs, that really opens up the play action, which should help them a lot.
All right, Tony, what do you got for us down there?
Right now, here's the situation on the sideline.
Technical difficulties reaching Tony down there. Looks like the Colts getting the microphones as well. We're going to get 2nd and 10 for the Eagles on the Eagles' 26-yard line. Both teams really looking consistent. I'm not really seeing any quick stops by either sides.
It's looking like great offense. It's just bad defense as of right now.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you there.
We haven't really seen too many third down and long plays.
And let's see if we can try again and see if Tony's ready for us down there. Tony, what do you got for us down on the sidelines?
Thanks, guys. We're down here right behind the Eagles bench. Basically just watched Morris walk down and have an easy score. Just got done listening to him. It's all about getting tough. It's cold. It's getting windy. It's getting even colder as we speak. So the wind picks up. But here's the situation. Northwestern can make a few stops, get Bobby Miller, Kelly Johnson, Friedman, Gibbs, and Borges getting the ball running again. This could be an easy game for Northwestern. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thanks, Tony.
They get it?
And they're busting out the Eagles jackets out there. Really cold out there. Really gusty.
They're football players. They can take it.
They got plenty of muscle to hide it up.
You don't see us hockey players out on the ice with coats on. I mean, come on.
Congratulations to the Northwestern golf team for winning the UMAC Conference Championship. Senior captain Andy Ross was the individual conference champion and took medalist.
And they're back on the field. I really think what team is really going to win today is which defense steps up and starts to stop either the passing or the rushing game, because then that puts pressure on the other. I think if the Eagles can start breaking up Ekron's plays, then that's going to take away from Green's rushing power, and that's really what's going to help the Eagles today.
And I think a turnover here and there is really going to help whichever team gets it, too.
Absolutely. We saw our fair share of turnovers the past couple of games. Quick handoff to Gibbs, who's actually been seeing a fair amount of carries today. Gets a quick 2-3 yards.
Yeah, Gibbs is looking good. You don't see him limping or anything of that matter. He just looks like to be slowly getting back into his old form, which is very good.
I'm sure he's feeling good to be back out there. It's been out for the majority of the season, but again, Friedman definitely not struggling in the running game when there's an injury. Eagles line up again. This time in the T formation. Miller scrambles and a quick throw, but looks like that one was overthrown. Really left Jamie Barrett wide open to get just smashed there.
Yeah, he was trying to be a little tricky when they use the I formation and have a couple running backs back there, and they just try and run a quick streak down the middle.
Jamie Barrett really tried to reach up, and that's all of 6'3" reaching up there, but Miller left it up there too high. And we've been seeing Miller today. He's really been starting to develop, but last games he's kind of keeping it up there for his players. Really, A, you're not going to get the throw on, and B, it really leaves your receivers open to get just decked. That a quick one to Gibbs again, and Gibbs gets about 25 yards on that quick pass. Miller really keeping his cool out there even when he's under pressure.
Yeah, Miller got nailed pretty hard on that play too, but he's found a way to make the play.
Took him a while to get up from that one. Miller also suffering, from what we hear, a slight knee injury, kind of nagging him, but he doesn't look like it's harboring him any.
And after seeing that big run earlier in the game, I think he's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just one of those things that you really just got to work out. That or it's just totally numbed out by the cold. Timeout called by the Eagles.
Timeout Northwestern, their second timeout of the first half.
That would be their second one so far of the half.
Soccer team for advancing to the UMAC Conference Tournament. The team will play on October 29th against a team that is yet to be determined.
And it is now 7-7 with a little over 13 minutes to go in the game. Pete, what do you think we're going to be seeing as this game goes on? Do you think what's really going to be the team that wins today?
I think the team that wins today is the team that has receivers that just keeps their hands warm enough that they can catch X number of passes but score a touchdown here and there. And I think the game's going to come down to one interception or one fumble recovery that just is deep in the other team's zone, and it's just an easy scoring opportunity, and that just it would clinch. I'm seeing it being a very close game down to the wire.
Both teams not really having that many turnovers, although we're still really early on in the game. But normally in past games, we've definitely seen our fair share of turnovers. So this is good to see for both Eagles and Cougars.
Oh, they'll come.
Miller sends Wolklin in motion. A quick handoff. This time to what looks like Stephen Bogus, a linebacker. Bogus seeing his fair share of offense out there today.
Playing both sides of the field.
Gains a quick 2 yards. For now we're looking at 2nd and 8 on the Cougars 38. But again, that rushing game, they're not really breaking out, but they're still getting those steady short gains. Cougars really need to start working on starting to shut them down. I haven't really seen a Cougar shutdown yet. Quick pass, this time to Josh Lundeen. Getting what looks to be, could be a first down for the Eagles.
That's another them quick outs. It's working well for both offenses.
And that is a 3rd and 1 we're looking at. Let's take a quick look at that. Lundeen, even when he's hit, he just pushes for those extra 2 yards, and that's really what's helping the Eagles today. Both their rushing and their passing game really persevering and pushing through to get those extra yards that really could make or break the game today. Miller drops back, quick handoff to Gibbs again for a quick 4 to 5 yards. Gibbs seeing his definitely fair share of carries today. Brings it to 1st and 10 at about the 29-yard line.
Going back to Josh Lundeen's catch, also another thing might come down to is just players just struggling to make that extra yard, extra foot. It'll just come down to that, I'm thinking. Lundeen, just a freshman, looking to be taking some leadership roles.
Absolutely. Definitely agree with you there. Miller sends Wolklin again in motion. Quick handoff to Gibbs. Gibbs trying to throw a quick stiff arm, but it looks like a quick Eagles loss. Maybe 2-3 yards on that play. You know, for an injured guy just coming off the injured list, Gibbs is really seeing his fair share of carries out there today.
Well, I think you'll just see him getting progressively more carries throughout the remaining games of the year. I think he'll have a pretty big breakout game when we have the Dome game here at the Metrodome. He looks to be just a sprinter.
Speaking of the Dome game, let's say you have a healthy Gibbs and a healthy Friedman. If you were Coach Talley, what would you be doing?
I'd be just... Nice catch there by number 81. But going back to that, if you have a healthy Bobby Miller and a healthy Paul Gibbs, you're just going to have a fast team, and it's going to make the other defenses just scared to death.
Absolutely, and I think what else is going to scare them to death is even if you somehow get Gibbs out, you have Friedman right there, and also Johnson. Let's take a quick look at that last play.
Bobby Miller doing the bootleg thing again.
This pass to Justin Jefferson, fighting his way. Look at that. perseverance and just really putting all you can into that extra couple yards. Miller lays it up there for Union and a quick touchdown for the Eagles. A risky move by Miller to leave it up there with the wind and all, but it definitely pays off.
Well, when you have single coverage and a pretty decent receiver like Ben Union, you can't not afford not to do that.
An absolutely perfectly placed pass to Union. Union really starting to develop as the Eagles' #1 receiver this year.
You're getting a replay on this?
They're lining up for the extra point. This one is good. Laid up there for the win to carry around wherever it pleased, but that one, Eagles lucked out. Brings it to 14-7 with a little over 10 minutes left in the first half.
2 for 2 on points after. It's a new day. Never know what's going to happen with this Eagle football team.
As we just saw, a bunch of the Eagles fans all really bundled up today.
The touchdown, a 25-yard pass from Bobby Miller to Ben Union.
Bobby Miller really looking comfortable. He's really looking like the Eagles' strength this game. Gibbs also starting to look like he's starting to develop as well.
And that should be scaring the Minnesota Morris team because with the cold weather, you can just throw the defensive stats out the window.
Morris really looking for this win after that tough loss last week. But again, the loss was to Martin Luther, which they have a perfect record, so can't be too hard on yourself.
The Eagles and Morris are fighting for the second place spot in the North Division of the UMAC Conference.
And this one is out of bounds. That will definitely throw the flag out there. Definitely one of the big moves you do not want to do in football is kick it out of bounds. You know, you have all that space. Honestly, I don't see how you can kick it out of bounds like that. So much space and so big a penalty if you happen to do that.
Well, that's just been our biggest weakness this year is our place kickers. And they're just total lack of accuracy.
And it looks like we're going to have an interview with Bobby Miller down there. I can see from up here Miller is getting his knee worked on. We have heard that his knee has been slightly bothering him. Tony, what do you got for us down there?
I think you would recognize it, so focus on that.
Okay. Hey, welcome to the...
As you can see, Miller in pain on the ground. Tony, what do you got for us?
Hey, welcome to the sideline. We're right behind Northwestern's bench right now. Northwestern just kicked off again, right by star quarterback Bobby Miller, who's having a fantastic game, not only running the ball but passing it. Just hit Ben Yonan with a deep ball. As you can see right now, Miller's getting his legs stretched out again, getting everything worked on, and keeping loose. Bobby, how cold is it out there?
Oh, it's not very cold once you're out in the field, but for these guys probably in the stands or in the sidelines or maybe even in the truck are really, really cold.
Absolutely. No wind protection down here. Have a good game, Bobby.
Miller really starting to hang in there today. I'm sure that this cold weather is really not helping that knee out.
Morris with a kick return to the 50, but now it's called back to the 28-yard line. For some reason, they had to kick off again. We're not quite sure why that was, but we'll take it.
Now, if Eagles really want to start developing their game, this is really where the Eagles need to start putting up that rock-solid defense. Ekron really starting to develop, as well as Green. This time another handoff to Green, and as you can see, just pushing through. Even when he should be down a couple of yards ago, now he gets about a 15 to 16-yard carry for a quick Cougars first down.
Yeah, let's hope the run defense for the Eagles isn't wearing down quite yet. We're going to need that in the third and fourth quarter. One thing I'm noticing is the Eagles are only putting out one safety. I'm not quite sure why that is. They're putting in about 4 linebackers for, I believe it's called a quarter set.
Well, you know, with that Green running game, it's really hard to put another safety out there with Green. with that stellar performance, you really need to start stopping Green. And they're, again, not able to for another 12 rushing yards by Green. It's really hard to put passing defense out there because with Green putting a stellar performance like this, it's just really going to open up the passing game for the Cougars.
Yeah, it's really going to open up the play action, which should bode well for the Cougars. Seeing as they had that 30-yard pass earlier in the game, we know their quarterback can throw, and we know their receivers can, at least one of them can catch pretty well.
Absolutely. Again, with only one safety lined up for the Eagles. Another handoff to Green. Green, again, you know, that should have been a loss of yards, but again, it looks like he got about a gain of 1 or 2. Green refusing to go down on some of these plays.
Gain of 2 yards.
Quick gain of 2, which will make it 2nd and 8 in the Eagles' 41. Quick 4 rushing in a row, but you know what? Even if the rushing game keeps on going, my theory is if rushing game can't be stopped, why stop? There's no need to go to the passing game if the rushing game just keep doing this.
If it works, you may as well just keep coming back to it.
Now we're probably going to see a passing play, as we are. Ekron scrambles, but this time swatted down by Eagles. That one's swatted by Aaron Brooks, a senior player for the Eagles.
Probably should have been intercepted, but might come back to that ball that's pretty much catching a block of ice or a rock out there.
Absolutely. Quick save for the Eagles just by sticking his arm up there. Now we're looking at 3rd and 8 on a 41-yard line. Green in the backfield. Ekron takes the snap, draws back, and this one hands off to Green, and Green again battles his way, but this looks like Max Meager stuffed him down. That one's not going to be enough for a first down. That's going to bring it to about 4th, and I would probably say 4.
But you got to expect them to go for it here because it's a little bit too far for a field goal and it's too short to punt it.
Absolutely. And that would be a Cougar timeout. That would be their first timeout of the half.
Very good.
And that will bring us to commercial break. Right now the score is 14-7 Eagles.
Hey, hello! Hey, excuse me, I've only got 45 seconds here and there's something I want you to think about. You want to make a difference in the world? What are you going to do with your life? You only get one shot at it, you know. Northwestern College is the place to be.
The rooms are awesome.
We have our own kitchen.
And bathroom. Hey, what's cooking?
Northwestern's chapel has made a big difference in my life.
Professors at Northwestern College care about more than just classes. They care about me.
There are so many
different majors.
Different majors to choose from.
I just got back from my internship from China. I'm blown away by so many job opportunities.
If you want to grow in your relationship with God, this is the place to be.
God made me for a purpose.
I'm part of something bigger.
I'm going to use what I learned to help others.
This is the place.
The place to be.
This is the place.
This is the place.
This is the place to be.
Do something powerful with your life. Make your mark. Northwestern College. It's the place to be.
Welcome back to Reynolds Field, and we look like a quick incomplete pass by Ekron, which will bring in the Eagles offense. 14-7 with a little over 8 minutes left in the first half here at Reynolds Field.
Yeah, it looks to be like what I guessed when it's too short to punt it, it's too far to kick a field goal, and this wind that would have been coming right at the kicker.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with you there. Even with all that help by Green, Ekron just can't really develop there. Gibbs with another carry to the Eagles' 40-yard line. That will bring it up about 2nd and 4 for the Eagles. You know, going into this game, we heard from our reports that Gibbs would only get a handful of carries, but Gibbs is really starting to carry the load of the rushing game. Miller really helping that out.
And until I see anyone of those guys limping, I don't see any reason not to keep giving it to him.
Absolutely. Miller lines up, sends Nitch in motion. Another handoff, this time I think again to Stephen Bogus.
Paul Gibbs.
Paul Gibbs again.
And in the cold weather like this, you don't have to really worry about people cramping up like you do, say, in games down in Florida, where
Absolutely.
it's hot and humid and your muscles just freeze up.
We're looking at a different kind of freeze today.
That we are, my friend.
1st and 10 on the Eagles 45 with a little over 7 minutes to go. Again, that steady Eagles rushing game really starting to help the Eagles open up their passing game as well as those steady rushing yards. Miller scrambles, but it does not look like he's going to get away. That looks like a really big loss for the Eagles.
And that's what they can't do. That's what's hindered Bobby Miller in games past is that. And it might just be an error in play calling, but that hurts you after a while.
You know, you got to start wondering if this cold's getting to the offensive line. I mean, even though they have those warm bodies all over them, but...
Well, it goes both ways. I mean, both defensive and offensive lines are pushing at each other, so it's the same effect for both players.
Absolutely. Miller drops back, lays this one up, but that one, no one was there for that one. That one was directed towards Aaron Lynch. Again, something you really want to avoid today was what Miller just did, and that's lay it up there. Wind is just gusting. That wind can really take the ball anywhere today.
It looked to almost be a lack of communication on the receivers and quarterback's part because Lynch was not even looking back and the ball was over his head.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to clarify that play calling. But Miller, when Miller steps back and really starts those strong throws, really utilizing his strong arm, then that's when Miller's really starting to look good out there.
He's looking stellar today.
Starting to scramble, but the wet grass causes him to stumble a bit, but he does get a couple yards. Brings it up to about the 45.
Original line of scrimmage.
That will bring out the special teams. Pete, what went wrong with that drive there?
Well, it just came down to the first down play where the rollout just failed. And lack of communication on second down and just good coverage by the Cougars on the third down play.
That's really all it takes.
Sign of a good defense there.
And we have a fake punt. This one a successful pass to Dennis Holzman for an Eagles first down. I absolutely did not see that coming. That was amazing.
Hats off to the play calling department here.
Let's take another look at that stellar play. Lays this one up. Dennis Holzman catches the pass and just pushes his way through. That was huge for the Eagles today. Now we're looking at 1st and 10 on the Cougars 41.
And that just totally offset the Cougars defense.
Huge, absolutely huge. Miller with a quick throw to Union for a gain of a couple, 4 or 5 yards there. Again, Miller utilizing that strong arm, really starting to look comfortable out there today.
I'm going to be shooting down here too.
Northwestern Special Teams Department showing that they do indeed have a couple tricks up their sleeves.
You know, I'm starting to see a lack of scrambling by Miller. I wonder if that has anything to do with his knee today.
It might, but
Miller drops back, this time handed off to Gibbs for a quick gain of a couple 2 to 3 yards. Got Tony down on the sidelines with a quick report. Tony, what do you got for us today?
Thanks, guys. We're down here right by the Eagles bench again. Just got done talking to Coach Polke about this special teams star, the punter. This little special teams trickery getting Northwestern a first down as we're already 14-7 going in just under 5 minutes into the half. Here's one thing I would like to point out. You've seen Bobby Miller. He's been slipping and sliding in a lot of the running backs. We're just on the sidelines, and you can see already it's loose. This gravel and the grass isn't holding up anymore. It's been raining for a couple days, and the grass is getting slippery. Back to you guys.
Absolutely great point by Tony. You can see that the grass is starting to really affect even Miller. Miller had a kind of a slow start, started to run, and he started to stumble on that grass.
Van Union with a great catch and run right there to put him right at another first down.
1st and 10 on the Cougars' 21-yard line. With a little over 4 minutes to go, Eagles lead 14-7. Miller takes the snap, draws back, hands off to Gibbs. Gibbs with a quick stiff arm with a gain of a couple yards. That's what we're really looking at. Gibbs with those quick 2 to 3 yard gains. That's really what he's been doing today.
He's seen a lot of stiff arms too, just powering through those linebackers and corners.
Absolutely. Sometimes that's all it takes. You don't necessarily need the fastest guy out there. Sometimes Gibbs is a strong guy. He's definitely utilizing that out there today.
Cougars using a dime package.
Miller drops back in a quick throw to Union again, this time to the 12-yard line. I do not believe that that's a first down yet.
Must be about 2 yards away.
Apparently that one was brought to the 14-yard line. We're looking at 3rd and about 2 to go.
And we might be within field goal range if we make a couple yards here.
Eagles lays it up there, but that one looked like Cougars had his hands on the player there, but no penalty called on that one.
Might have been incidental. Both players were looking like they were going for the ball pretty hard there.
And we're looking at 4th on the 14. Eagles look like they're going